Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read over the ingredients and then I'm going to read over the equipment. Great. Okay, so you'll need 12 bamboo skewers. If you've got them soaking, great. If you haven't got them, fine, depending on how you're going to cook them. If you were going to cook them over charcoal, then of course it's always better to soak them. But if you're just popping them under the grill or on the barbecue, on the stovetop, then it's not really a big deal. All right, you'll need half a kilo of your chicken thigh fillets cut into cubes. You'll need some spring onions. Great. You'll need some soy sauce, some mirin if you've got it. If you haven't got it, we can use something else. I just happened to find it and saw today at Woolies. I thought, oh, great. Okay, then you'll need a bowl with your skewers. You'll need another bowl to make your sauce. You need a little saucepan, just a little saucepan like that. And obviously you're going to do a barbecue grill. You can do it. What we'll do is we'll make our skewers and then I'll leave you guys to cook them in your own time. And you'll need a tray or something or a plate that you're going to put your skewers on once we make them. Great. Okay. So we'll start with this because we'll make the sauce and that will be great. Fantastic. Okay, so our sauce ingredients, you're going to need 75 mils, which is about 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Oh, gosh, 75 mils of soy sauce. And equal amounts of mirin if you've got it. It's like a vinegar. And if you want to, you can have a little taste of it, just so that you've got an idea of what it does and how it balances out. So it's like we've got the saltiness of the soy sauce, and then you've got the sourness of the vinegar. It's not a vinegar, but it's, yeah, like that. And then you're going to add a tablespoon of sugar to your sauce. A nice big lump of sugar, just a tablespoon of sugar. And then we're going to bring that to the boil. Pop that. I would do a medium heat. You don't want, it's quite, you've got the stickiness of the sugar, so you don't want it to be too high. So do it over a medium, and we're going to stir it around using a wooden spoon. And we want to turn it down to a low and simmer for about 5 minutes. And if you've got your chicken thighs, a little bit different. We're not going to marinate the chicken in the sauce. We're going to brush the sauce onto our skewers at the end. So it's a little bit different than what you would normally do. So you can just do whatever way you want to thread your skewers on. I've cut mine into quite big strips, you can see. So I'm going to just thread my chicken on to the skewers. We'll do this while our sauce reduces. And the idea is you probably get 2 strips, or if you're using big chunks of the chicken, then just see. You don't want them to be, you want them to be not too thick. So it's different than, say, the kebab that you'll get at Woolies or even at the chicken store. You'll see those the skewers. You want it to be thinner than that. So you can sort of see how that I've done that. A little bit messy. I wouldn't win MasterChef with that one, but that's okay. We're not out to do that, are we? So let's just thread our skewers. And I'm just watching my sauce evaporate so that it's going to thicken up. I don't want it to burn though. So I've got it on a really low temperature and it just is simmering away. I don't need to stir it at all. It's simply just evaporating the liquid off. So it's going to be thicker. And then once it's done, then you can just turn that off. I'm going to turn mine off because I'm nervous that it's going to burn. So I'll turn it off and just let it cool down while we thread the skewers. All right, so what we're going to make here is a really light filling or dough. It's a coating. That's the best word for it. Okay, so we're going to add 1 cup of plain flour to a bowl. 1 cup of plain flour. One cup of plain flour and 2 tablespoons of corn flour. 2 tablespoons of corn flour. So that changes the type of batter. That's what it is. It's a batter. Getting my words all mixed up. And then just give it a nice little whisk. When I've watched this on YouTube videos, I see that they do it with chopsticks. Great. Then you'll need 1 egg yolk. 1 egg yolk. Take your time to do that and do it in a little separate bowl. So we're adding the yolk, the yellow part, not the white. So I'm just, you can do it through your fingers if that is easier for you. Beautiful. And you need 200 mils of iced water, which is about a cup, a bit less than a cup. So it needs to be nice and cold. We're going to add it to our mixture. And then we're going to mix it all around. Now, it doesn't matter if it's got little bits of lumps in it, but we're going to try to mix it as much as possible. So it's a thin batter. Fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave that for the moment. We'll come back to that in a moment. Now, if you haven't, So I've just created little zucchini ribbons. You can do them whatever shape that you want to do, but you do want them to be quite small. So I'm going to chop up a little bit more of my sweet potato, just so that it's nice and thin. And you can use any, like you can use this batter for prawns, even chicken, but we want it's a light batter, so different than if you were to create like a schnitzel batter or fish batter. It's lighter than that. So I'm doing this the old-fashioned simple way, just creating some simple little strips of my sweet potato. So if you want to, hang on, I'll add that to that. Let me just finish this. Now this recipe, everything gets added together. But if you wanted to fry your vegetables separately, you could do that as well. I'm going to just, some of my strips I'm going to make smaller. All right. And then what I'll do is I'll show you how to fry. I'll just do a little bit, and then when it's time, because we're way ahead of time here, you can do it closer to eating. And you don't want to do it too far ahead, because we all want crispy batter. You don't want soggy batter that was cooked 2 hours ago. All right, let me get rid of my rubbish. All right, so let me get another saucepan. So you can just watch me while I do this. Let's move my saucepan over. And we want it onto a high heat, because we want our oil to be quite high. Because what will happen is that crisps up the outside. Otherwise, it will go, your batter will go soggy. So I'm just using some vegetable oil here. You can use whatever kind of oil. What do they suggest? Peanut oil. I'm going to grab a pair of tongs. I'm going to add some of my zucchini. This can be reused, so as in like for the same recipe, so you can sort of dip things. What I'm trying to do here is toss it so that it all gets covered. I'm just literally using sweet potato and zucchini, but the recipe says you can use onion, you can use corn, and for those that have been around for long enough know that corn is my least favourite vegetable in the entire world. All right, so the recipe says add the sweet potato, etc., and stir until just combined, and then pour enough oil to come up 5 centimetres. I'm only going to do a small amount, so I've only used a small. Heat the oil until, well, I always do it like this. So I'm wanting to see, well, yep, you can see that was beautiful. We do want to submerge our vegetables rather than, they're not being shallow fried, they really are being deep fried. And then the recipe says add 2 tablespoons of the mixture to the oil to make like they're thin fritters. You can do them. I'm going to do them like this so I can see them separately. You can add them together if you want to make them like a little, like, you know, we've made fritters before. Beautiful. I'm pushing them together so that they're right. Oh, and they're puffing up really nicely. Oh, they're beautiful. They are beautiful. The recipe says cook for 2 to 3 minutes. It's going to depend on, like, I can tell that mine are already cooked, really. Oh, so good. So when we were designing the menu back, you know, seems like months ago now, I thought most of you guys will know how to make sushi. And, you know, you go to the sushi place. And so I thought, let's have things that are a little bit different, a little bit out of the. All right, so I've got some rice, sushi rice that I've cooked earlier. And I'm going to, it is quite warm, but that's all good. When my daughter was 16, she went to Japan as an exchange student and learned how to make rice balls. So onigiri is rice balls, and there's all sorts of different ways that you can make them. It's almost like a sandwich in terms of it's rice, you can put something inside it. I'm going to add some of our sushi vinegar, which is sushi vinegar is sweet as well as sour. Add that. Now, if you had sushi, if you had seasoning, you could add the seasoning here. One of the great things about onigiri is that you can fill them. So I'm going to show you a super, super simple way of doing this. There is a trick. You can see in the recipe on the picture, there is a cute little way of folding them or rolling them, which is all very fine and dandy, but this is the way I've learnt, which is keeping it simple is what I'm all about. You might want to taste, when your rice cools down, you might want to taste it and see if you're happy with it, whether it's got enough salt, whether it's got enough sweetness to it. All right, so you can see that what I've done here is I've put some cling wrap in just a simple bowl. Super, super simple. I'm going to attempt to do our cute little shape, but I'm not confident. All right, so I've got a piece of nori. Where's my piece of nori? And you'll see on the nori that there are already shapes or little grooves in it. Not on every one, but on a lot of them, you'll see that there are strips of or lines already cut into the nori. What you can do is you can cut along those strips to make little pieces here. And of course, nori is made from seaweed, so it's full of, you know, it's all good stuff. Greens and whatever. That's not my area of expertise. And I'm going to put a piece in the bottom. In fact, I'm going to do two, because I'm doing a wider one. So I'm just creating a cute little bit at the bottom. So I've just made a cross. Then I'm going to add some rice. Now mine is quite hot, but it's probably better to use room temperature. If you wanted to, you can add a filling. So if you wanted to add some salmon, if you wanted to add some canned tuna, you can add a little piece there, like just a teaspoon. You could even add some vegetables and you can add egg, like slices of egg as well. So you could do that. I'm just going to add, what am I going to add? You could add some little bit of chicken as well. I'm going to slice up, just because it's here, I'm going to slice up some of my tempura. That will serve the purpose for the moment. Great. Sarah, did you have a question? Yes.
Do we have to cook our vegetables before we put them in?
No. Great question. Great question. No, we don't. Because we cut them so finely. Can you see how finely my sweet potato is? So it's like little spaghetti pieces, or even this. What's going to happen is when we add them to our batter, they're so small that they will cook from the steam and the heat really quickly. So that's a great question. I'm really glad you asked that question, because that's a great question. Great. So then I've put a little filling in there. I've cut up a little bit of my tempura veggies, and then I've put another layer of rice, sushi rice, over the top. Now, then I'm just going to gather up, so you can see that I've got my cute little nori at the bottom. And here is where we can make our traditional shape. I'm going to give it a go. I'm not great at this, and if you go online, I've clearly spent a lot of time doing this, is in Japanese, what Japanese mums will do is they have these little molds, and they'll make little molds of rice balls. And so they'll, like Hello Kitty and cute little owls and cats and all sorts of little cute little things. And so that, and pandas, I've seen pandas as well. So like a little rice ball made in the shape of a panda. And then they can cut the nori and put that on top to make little faces. You can buy little stamps, etc., which is a bit fun. So you can see that I've made this. Great. And then that is literally ready to go. You can either keep it in the little cling wrap, or keep it in the cling wrap until you're ready to use it. Because they're really lunchtime things, they can sit into a lunchbox really well. So because they do the molds, but I'll just unmold mine. And the longer that you leave it in the fridge, then obviously it will set into that position. So when I unwrap, there you go. So I've unwrapped my little onigiri, and then I've got myself a little cute little lunch thing. Great. So it's like they call it a rice ball. Beautiful. I'm just seeing seeing if I can just grab a sushi mold. Let me see if I've got it there. Fantastic. All right. So that's it. And you just keep repeating that until you make them. You can make them as big or as small as you want to. And as I say, you can put things inside, or you can just have them as a rice ball. Great. So we've done our tempura. We've made our yakitori skewers, and we've got our lovely little rice balls, which I think they're great picnic food now that I'm thinking about them. So wonderful. All right, Sarah, have you got any questions?
I'm all good.
You're good. I love that. Now, just while I'm here and I'm thinking about it, you can see in the picture of the on the recipe that they've got little like seed-like, and what they are is they're actually black sesame seeds. So these are mine. They look like, I'm not going to tell you what they look like, but which look really cute. And you can put that through the whole of the rice to make it just look a little bit more fancy, or you could put that on the top of your onigiri as well. So that is just another. And if you don't have black ones, then you can just use white ones as well, because the flavour of the sesame seeds is really beautiful.